This is nation's leader, Queen of Israel, Avril Kanteshi, Sarah Michelle Canfield. I was voted into presidential office as Michael Canfield. As Sarah Michelle, I have encountered evil that causes me to be transgender, despite the pain of breast shrinkage, the presence of male-gendered evils of groin, and facial hair that unwelcomely grows. I'm getting along just fine with that issue. Periodically, cops and their evil nature and brutality have gotten a hold of me to cause such a problem. I thrive on the pure days when I'm fully female and I'm fully at peace in my body. So I'm sorry in that I might seem to be much like a guy presently. I view the issue as only temporary with a huge outlook and prophetic victory. In spirit of the total and prophetic victory I'm noting here today in this video, the dreams of persons come true. All of our hopes coming to light. And to note on some of the present issues with those dreams and hopes of peace, blessing, joy, love, in all directions, I'm bringing up the securities and ideas at hand that God is dwelling on to keep us secure. As a prophetess from birth, I have taken on all works I can throughout life to be a beacon in the eyes of others, be that leadership, prophesying, labor of all kinds, be that architecture, engineering, security work, data programming, and so on. Miracles make things happen, and vigil keeps us aware. In my personal and shared hopes and dreams, I have always longed to have ultimate peace. All of us desire peace in our life. From the second we wake in the morning to the hour at the end of the week after much is said and completed, peace is at the forefront of our heartfelt works and endeavors. I hope, dream, and envision a day that Israel's peace programs might free us all from the complications that evil always intends to be before us. We as individual people can make huge impressions of peace to all our family, friends, and neighbors, including other lands. Israel's Hydrolima project and security networking paves the way of being free from all money slavery, and the Gananon project brings forth all strengths and peace of each level on being free, and really drives home the truth and heart of what things are like to be completely free in life from all surroundings and presences of evil. There truly is nothing like the Gananon project, and we truthfully couldn't go without the peace and freeness of being that project and the Hydrolima project bring. The lead work in today's security is to keep the peace on guard of all God's family. They maintain that in all they do, and that's the peace mission. On the forefront of security in the earth and beyond is ninjutsu. In English, ninjutsu is translated as Peace Fast Missions, or the Peace Now Mission. The practice involves self-defense only utilized in emergencies, and plague of wrath and doom and torture and full justice as the offense in God's good judgment. With the addition of boxing, that becomes ninjutsu boxing, which is God's chosen means of defense and offense. Singing and dancing are some of the most phenomenal things you can get going in passion, praise, and joy. Bach is the strategical line of secured arrangement, and out of the joy of praise and singing comes the plagues of justice miracles. All the energies and motivations in your life are stored up in your health and fitness and motions of your healthy body, like getting involved in sports and competition peacefully. You can play soccer, rugby, tennis, cricket, basketball, and so much more. Exertion is key. You just have to be careful not to overwork yourself. With a peaceful, healthy outlook, parties are good fellowship and social friendship and family life to get into the celebration. And praise of love and life. There are good security workers that are looking out after you so you can be free to celebrate, praise, and of course party. You just have to help to look after yourself too. In life, there are key advantages that good has. One major key is to be a peaceful worker. That's a peace worker. That's what ninjas are. Ninja translates as peace worker. And that in service of God, that's what ninjutsu boxing is all about. Peace Now missions that defend and send forth miracles of plague, justice throughout all of creation. As a peace worker, you must keep a healthy spirituality. That means workouts and sports and plenty of love and family and friendship, all the while dancing and singing and praising God. God is one of my names. I'm God. And I'm here as Queen of Israel and President of the United States of America to lead and secure and prophesy in the life of all my followers. And of course, party. I keep that in mind. So in that, Nin translates as peace. So in turn 2 is Zen. Zen is a zealful, spiritual, eternal dwelling of peace. Nin is just Zen with the Z on the side in the shape of an N. Since letters were often translated based on shape, I some occasions have thought of myself openly as a Zenja, a zealful peace worker. In prophecy, all God's persons are going to be discipled as peace workers or ninjas. That's God's means of security and work. When you are at peace in your love life, with your family and friends and all of God's creatures, you are at peace in your heart, and especially at peace with God. When you are at peace, that means you can do all kinds of miracles. Miracles of joy, miracles of blessing, miracles of music, dance, praise, and miracles of love and peace. In music, there is a lead program and project called 311. There is nothing evil can do. There is nothing evil can get going on the music. It's catchy and in good vibe and goes in comedy and joy throughout all prophecy to achieve all-out justice. That's definitely some music to get into. In a highly secured spirituality of peace, gift, friendship, praise, calm, and message of passions. In a lot of music, there are problems. You have to keep vigilant and calm to avoid the spiritual issues that are thrown at you, especially in the house of praise. In the house of praise, you have to avoid the songs that are problems. Each word, line, and verse, some occasions, carry problems like curse issues. Guard your heart and send forth the secured peace, and be highly guided by God's Spirit in what songs you sing and when. There are arrangements in spiritual security to give you the spiritual vibes you need to enjoy peace in music, in dance, and in fellowship. I started a music community I called Ninzen, and with further communication on topic of Ninzen, I might absolutely love to share that musical vibe with the public a lot more presently. I'm sending forth a blessing in all our life to see and visit family friendships throughout all creation, getting back together with friends or family we might miss, and making all kinds of new friends to celebrate with in family party atmosphere. I'm sending forth eternal peace into your heart and life to have in what all circumstances you might end up with. In these blessings, I include a blessing to no more lose touch with loved ones, that we might always be together. Now, among things I wanted to talk about includes one matter on healthcare. Healthcare has become a tangled web of false promises. Only God's promise of miraculous healing holds true. There are altogether too many so-called healthcare professionals out there that try to dwell on your being like you are just there to get evil going on you, and a little here and a little there as a method and plan to keep being paid monetarily. They try to keep sounding professional and keep looking fit and lean and strong in health themselves, while they are realistically into money and evil to harm you and get paid during your downfall. You can very honestly tell the variation. A true healer comes to you in God in miracle, like they get going in the house of praise. You can tell in truth they are out to harm you, and that they are trying to be paid in health care at all. Money is completely denounced by God, and I keep I keep money's evil completely out of the picture when it comes to healing. As a matter of fact, I want to start a movement, a project, a program in the House of Praise that opens up the doors and outreaches in a high priority of healing to eliminate predators and those that feed on your health issues in an evil spirituality that keeps them provided monetarily. I want to call the movement Guerrilla Healthcare. Our friends, the gorillas, spiritually love you and care about you a lot more than you might think. This came to me in spirituality prophetically, and I mean to share this as a method of security in the matter. I'm asking all the House of Praise to take a stance on guerrilla healthcare as a spiritual message, work, security, and family care and miraculous healing only called healing intolerance. Gorillas are some of the smartest and most intelligent persons there are, so completely full of highly intense thought on all topics of logic and justice. There is much we can follow to be instructed by them in their intelligence. All spiritual creatures are a piece of God's family, and we need to keep an eye on each other and guard against evil. Gorillas are a driving strength in the cause of spiritual health and strength. High day, we in turn take to healthcare like victors in the strength of spirit instead of evil's victims and monetary prey. I've gone through my share of difficulty with this in my own life, where malpractice feeds on me because of mental health issues that I honestly haven't got. That's all healthcare is nowadays, is malpractice. Our discipline in the House of Praise is one of justice. In our day, healthcare is going to be one of spiritual logic, not falsehoods of intelligence. So I say that guerrilla healthcare be at the forefront of spiritual security and healing and lead the means of health and tolerance in the House of Praise. In the House of Praise, amongst all followers of the faith and belief, we all share in God. I'm giving a title to the spiritual healing, spiritual security, and spiritual nurturing that is ongoing in this process of health. In the House of Praise, I'm calling this Shideki, and I want guerrilla healthcare to be spiritual practice of Shideki, on the forefront of healing and all security matters of healing. Tear them down that stand in your voyage of health and peace. They try to feed on you and tear you down. You can't allow or let them. Absolutely no more. As stated, you say in God that you are of the faith and belief in God, and you follow in service the practice of Shideki. And in that practice there is no tolerance of evil involvement of all kinds in healing. God is through being patient and glory when it comes to healthcare. There is to be justice, meaning absolutely no more evil involvement in health, whether they expect and demand money and fair treatment or not. You have to stand up strong like our gorilla friends, secure each other in health, and be victorious. You must stay vigilant. Break curse issues and sense the spirits around you, so you can tell when evil is present. And in God's presence there is evil. You have to destroy that in spiritual miracle. In healthcare, you can't just let evil tell you what to let happen. You gotta make a stand and let plague justice be your guide and God. Now, malpractice likes to get a hold of me on grounds of mental health. A long while ago, they thought my passion in music and dance was something they could make look like a proposed craziness. And I've been dealing with that since I was 12 years of age. The last occasion I was at their facility, they beat me up and captured me, got going on rude sexual perpetration, and locked me in, making me take injected medications, mocking me in person and in name, and getting evil going on me, making me look like a male once more. When I was in my prime as a female too. After 2 years of that, I'm still being made to take and be injected medication, all because of mental health problems I don't have. They lied to themselves first and openly claimed I was delusional in thinking I was in the army. That was the most preposterous thing I heard my whole life. I've been in the army truthfully since the age of 17. They tried to piece things together like the truth was just a delusion, saying I wasn't in their evil army, so my army work didn't count. They got me real depressed getting all that going on me, and I was stuck there over a year and a half. I got so upset I turned to a spiritual miracle I get going here and there to come back to life, and then I'm dead. And I was suicidal a whole year. In God, I wanted them to commit suicide. God was making that impression, and in miracle, I weighed the outcomes, and in choice decided the miracle to trudge on through was easier to get going on rather than killing myself. I was a miracle worker and hero in arms, counseling all kinds of persons with suicide thoughts, and from occasion to occasion have brought myself back from the dead in miracle. A few of those occasions were emergency suicides, where I avoided trouble that way and just came back to life. I changed my mind on the topic. Like I said, the miracle is easier just to trudge on instead. In my best interest, I just kept myself going in life instead of going through death just to get away. Whether I could perform a miracle to come back to life or not. Now, I'm through with that. I, as God, weighed the outcomes, and I need all of us to not think suicide is a spiritual escape, just to miraculously come back. Coming back is just a miracle in emergency cases, and that you might be killed by evil. Not in emergency cases so much more that you killed yourself to get away or avoid them. Now I want to stand up in guerrilla healthcare and health intolerance to make aware fully that those kind of pressures might not occur at all, caused by malpractice evils, and as a person of faith and belief in God's name, that in the practice of Shadeki healthcare be secured without those kinds of instances. Now, after my long stay there, they tried to fix that I'd be going to get a prescription each 4 weeks based on their malpractice diagnosis. And they arranged monetary in Social Security, in prescriptions, in apartment or housing, and in the stores within the surrounding city. Persons in healthcare haven't need of money to get them by, previous to, during, or after health treatment. They need loved ones and family that have been through the Hydro Lehman justice programs and are free to love and serve God without the influences of money, buy or sell, or all thought on the matter. Peace workers and God's servants in justice and security that can be guided in God how healing should go. Healing on God's terms, based on the truths of the matter, weeding out malpractice from amongst us. Now, I in security can't let something like what happened to me in malpractice happen to others. I am the only one as God in all of life that has out of my own heart taken my own life in emergency to come back in miracle. I am working against evil, so those kind of pressures aren't on others at all. Now, in security, I need those that stand up in peace, the ones in ninjutsu boxing, to be on full guard against evil. They have their own way in trying to cause plagues by sharing their cubicle sexual perversional ideas on government that might just sound then like usual government ideas, though they are like that in hidden means. Then they try to utilize the government guarding plague ideas that others have to try to harness plagues that otherwise might fully be against them. That might sound far-fetched. Still, that's what they some occasions have gotten going by getting good persons thinking about government ideals and securities while they're there trying to harness. Not only this, still they too try to steal, get involved spiritually, all forms of evil, posing as workers while getting all their evil deeds going. I myself, in a course of 5 years, was back-ended 11 occasions through this past 8 years of malpractice issues. I just gotta keep going. There is no person in all of life God hasn't trained in ninjutsu, boxing, security. Now there are glory ones that must train that are more presently added to the persons that God deems eternally His. In instruction, they can work on their glory projects with a full line of defense and offense of all spirituality to guide them. That's the means security has to guide, guard, and be just and truthful in God. Send them all the blessing you can muster. Let God's eternal strengths be their guide. Now, I believe that the Justice Department has a very good means to become as good as they might altogether have been in life, and that they keep a vigilance and they weed out the problems, and they just keep going on justice, keeping in mind all the plague strength and all the defensive networking and all of the good mind strengths that might keep them from getting into problems themselves, and be truly aware that they can handle the problems they might be coming into. I think they'll do a good job. I think there needs to be some strong leaders to do that. As long as they keep vigilance, they maintain security, they keep plagues in mind. I think that the FBI has a good program going where they could really get the security going and be good leaders in that kind of a lot of the thought processes I've been working on. And the FBI needs a little bit of a leadership encouragement so that they get into the work on a higher security level. Some of the officer work that I was doing was in a high-level security and based upon the archives and the data and informations that the FBI has going. I need that to be integrated with the files and office networking that I try to keep going in spirit and miracle and information. Now, to keep going, of work process that God has going based upon the Star of David and the Banner of Israel. It's just one of the G networks. The fact of the matter is that G6 substantiality of G being God and the sail. I should be saying sale. I shouldn't be saying the number the other way. But based upon the number of points on the Star David, that's one particular topic that God really enjoys a lot, keeping with the G sale program. Now, G networks in hydrolehman are completely free, and a lot of the occasions when government handles the money slavery issues, hydrolehman goes in and makes aware that all the G networks are in fact free to begin processes of being free in areas and zones and cities where there are in fact money slavery issues. That's a lot of the while that is just there to get things going. That's one of the main interests and purposes and meanings to to all of the G systems and G networks. Here in Lexington, I have a free bus system going based upon the COVID issues. There's no payment on the buses, and that's something that I instated in order to keep the hydrolehman dream going in the area. And so there is a free bus system arrangement with hydrolehman. Hydrolehman has made a lot of cars and vehicles free in order to keep transportation free. Here in the apartments that I'm staying in, hydrolehman offered a lot of free vehicles to the tenants a couple years ago. Now, I've got a lot of work background. The work background has a lot to do with a lot of business work, electronics work, data programming history. There's been all kinds of security work, architecture, engineering work, a lot of there's a huge background history I have in work. One of the thought processes that I have gone through is involved in making completely aware and available the work histories that a person has gone through. A lot of the work that I get into, I find that if I am in a rut, the only way that I have to put information down on a work history in order to get jobs is to have a security position where I have that kind of data and information available. The fact is that's not always there, and I kind of need that in my life. So making that available is one of the key things that I have thought about in making that available to people, a history and a archive of their work history, so they can get into the work that they're thinking about, and they don't lose touch with the works that they have done or that they have got going. There is a means to just try to think that through and put information down on paper and on the internet. That kind of thing works out pretty good. you can think that through a miracle and do things and work on things through a major means of insight and spirituality, and that works. The fact of the matter is, I have such an extensive work history that it's kind of hard to put all the information down, or just pick out pieces of information. A lot of the networks of work history communication has phone numbers and persons of work history that might need to be communicated with, that they haven't got a communication going unless the security is in line to get that going. And it's just a little bit difficult to fall into a rut and then try to put a work history together when all that work is in a data file that could just be accessed that easily. In life, there's a lot of work to get into. You can get into something that's very stable for your thought processes, and that can bring you a lot of joy in your day-to-day labors, and you can get into business, you can get into networking, you can get into security, you can get into all kinds of various works. The fact is, if you get going in one thing, you don't want to forget what you've done. You want to keep that kind of going as a tradition in your life. What you got to do is you got to stay vigilant in what you do. As long as you stay vigilant and you keep spiritually sharp, you can do pretty well. Now you got to watch out for spiritual complications. You got to keep an eye on small disturbances. Small disturbances lead way to larger strongholds of evil. So if you catch the small disturbances, you keep the larger disturbances from happening. Now, they try to cause large disturbances just the same, and you got to watch out, keep on your feet one way or the other. Now, I gave an executive order to take to the sky and get rid of roads. That opened up a huge stronghold and strength to handle evil. Security starts looking into situations where they're looking at neighborhoods and cities and areas and zones on a higher level of taking care of road systems and automobiles and things of that nature, and kind of catches evil off guard and orders and arranges things in a huge perspective on basically and based upon the huge undertaking of getting rid of roads and getting rid of cars. Now, taking to the sky means flying vehicles and flying cars. There are modules that go from one building to a separate allocated building or house, and there are docks that are kind of rounded in shape, and there are round vehicles, round transportations that go from building to building, from house to house. They're kind of in a system of network, and security has those things going. There's a lot of miracle involved, and those type of vehicles go pretty fast. I'm not really sure that some of those things do travel slow. You have to be strong in spirituality and kind of take two in miracle in order to keep up with the transportation of those types of transportation and vehicles. Some of the more gradual means that might take place are, I guess, flying vehicles. Some of the better flying vehicles are helicopters and things of a rotational air channel that that gets going based upon a propeller. Now, in that you have a propeller that utilizes a vertical air channel, you're kind of working with the helicopter type of idea. Working with the helicopter type of idea, you're working with air systems, and all air systems are largely guided technological systems, and they're completely secured and a good means to do travel. That kind of thing is being put in place, and there was a huge network of information and data that was gone through in order to make the decision to put through an executive order. Several years ago, that was put into arrangement, and the fact is that roads are just kind of in the way. Getting rid of roads and getting rid of cars opens up a lot of land to travel by foot. Those that travel by foot are either walking or running from door to door, or from door to building doors, and they can utilize elevators, and they can utilize their ground travel, and in any sense that they have to travel distance, they can travel by air, and that's not in the way in that sense of things, and that makes ground travel a lot more available to all persons. And like I said, that opened up a huge stronghold and strength to handle evil by uplifting all the roads and all the cars. That's something that security is looking into very largely, and kind of caught evil off guard, and in a sense of things is making security the stronghold that is going to end all evil. That kind of puts a stop to all of their travel and all of their mindset, their thought processes on on what cars and automobiles and vehicles that go along the road have in store for them. Things like what they like to do in the trunk, what they like to do in the back seat, what they like to do while driving, what they like to do when they get from one allocation to the other allocation, and that they did drive, what they got going on the stick shift and the transmission and things of that nature. And there are all kinds of evils that they've gotten into in that technology, and we're putting an end to all of that. There are some other security issues that I'm into that I hope to, in some sense, put other executive orders forward. One of them is on the works and itineraries of law based upon the justice system. I am looking at a lot of protests that are against the police or the cop brutality that has kind of been a problem across the land, and that's not just a one country issue. That involves the entire earth. There is some complication and process that has to do with interstellar travel. The peace of the earth and all beyond is in fact in the works and network of that thought process, and injustice to execute the needed security across all lands. As Queen of Israel and President of the United States, I am giving a executive command to get rid of the evils that do get involved, that are involved with law, that more or less keeps them from being involved in security matters one way or the other, based upon the discernments and basic vigilances of security. A lot of the Army has moved to security work in the past few years. Security work is kind of the lead security, and the Army kind of no longer presents itself as a brutal movement like it used to. It's a lot more friendly to children, and security is a lot more friendly to children and friendly to families that way. So more or less, there are a few more security ideas I'm looking into. That's just one of the things I was thinking of. I could use a lot of help and support and friendship and communication on those matters. Some of the issues are that as much as Glory does handle those type of issues and makes aware that the intended work is being done, the fact of the matter is that the roles they play a lot of what they do goes to their head, and they try to make the work their own, and things of that nature doesn't work out the way that Glory plans in a lot of the sense of things. On a security level of what that brings, that means that there are higher level security issues. Higher level security issues are much and altogether the same type of enigma and complication that is brought to the table. Some of those being different types of evil, or just a different title of evil, and a different magnitude of their complication that they cause, being that they they kind of all security against evil needs to be looked at and gone over in order to arrangement to make sure and make aware that evil is not tolerated one way or the other, in one means or the other, and there are different types of evil. It might be a witch, it might be a sorcerer, it might be something of a sexual type of evil that strengthens themselves through the process of their so-called strengthening endeavors, and things of that nature are not tolerated, and that must be put to an end. There's all different variety of those complications. Getting rid of their involvement in security, and their involvement in law, and their involvement in judgment is one of the key elements to the processes I'm working on and thinking through. Executing justice in the justice system, as far as making aware when and then that a judge might need to be exited from the system, and that a law or security worker might need to be exited from the system, in that an individual that might be wearing a uniform of a unliked kind, or that poses as if a good kind that doesn't belong, might need to be exited from the justice system. They don't get a say in what's going on. They have to be punished, and and all evil is to be executed. There are no cases of immorality that are permitted, and there are no cases of immorality that are tolerated. All security matters in those senses of things need to be taken care of in the utmost most professional manner of high-level securities that involves the justice system, that involves the Justice Department, that involves justice workers in security that might have insight on all of those matters. I'm just kind of going over a few ideas here, kind of looking at what might occur in that we did get rid of the involvement of evil in security. Now I'm also looking at getting rid of evil's involvement in government altogether, such as in a full party system that is handled by Glory, that kind of just openly allows them to rant on about their ideas in a sense that Glory just kind of outputs the best synopsis they have. The fact of the matter is they don't get a say in what's going on. Government is a publican issue. All public is guarded by statutes of presentation, and those statutes of presentation are looked at by government and the queenship of Israel and of all the earth, and even amongst and altogether too amongst the stars. There is such a thing as interstellar travel. Nowadays, that kind of technology is not hidden from what we do, and not hidden from what we get into, and as a matter of fact, has always been available according to miracle. It is not something that is totally impossible. It's not something that is totally overlooked. There are other planetary systems. There are other planetary beings. Aliens are very real, and technology from them is highly key and looked over in the advancements of those type of travels from planet to planet and from star to star. A lot of technology and insight has come from aliens. History is very real on that topic, and there's a lot of messages that come in prophecy and in work ethic. There's some of the very real issues that we face today. The fact of the matter is, you can't let the whole hype that aliens aren't real get to you. The fact of the matter is they are real. There are a lot of lies out there, and there's a lot of evil that likes to cover up the truth. So people need to keep vigilant and keep in touch spiritually with God in order and in arrangement to maintain a truthful insight into what they do, or into what they believe, and in what they understand, and in what they have faith in. I have faith in all beings of God, and I have faith in all creatures of God, and I have faith and belief in all persons of God, and I believe that there is a good God, and I believe that one of my names is God, and I hope to be the security professional that you all hope to find in me. And I'm just trying my best to get some of these ideas out there. And I'm going to end with a blessing to socialize and to communicate and to work together and to be free and to be completely spiritually free and in all sense of the matter, to be blessed in the fellowships and brotherhood and sisterhood and creaturehoods that we all share with one another, or with one each other. So that's the blessing I'm leaving with, and I hope to also bless the endeavor of fellowship and party life and the blessings of joy that might bring. I am starting a Red Bull party. Red Bull. This is the fully automated company I started when I was in my early 20s, late teens. Completely 100% caffeine. It's delicious sugar. One of my names is Zucra. Zucrazao. Now, the Red Bull party is something that I've been kind of carrying on a long while in spirituality. I invite a lot of people in spirituality to enjoy a Red Bull. So consider yourself a piece of the party.